Hello, my name is Judy. Welcome to the Liberated Multitasker. Today I thought we'd make our very own homemade hot chocolate mix and our homemade marshmallows. So come join me. Okay, so our first step for making homemade marshmallows is to line our 9x13 pan with foil. We're going to do this in two different ways. We're going to do it the long way, making sure each corner is filled in, it's flat, and then we're going to do a sling in another direction. Once again, making sure the corners are smooth and this is ready to go. We also need to oil our pan, so I'm just going to spray this non-stick avocado spray. In our pan. I'm just going to smooth this out. You can use a paper towel. I'm just going to brush it evenly so there's no globs of grease and that everything is covered. And that will be ready for us to pour the marshmallows in when we get ready. Now we're going to get our gelatin ready. I'm going to pour half a cup of cold water. This is 1 cup, so I need to pour half of this in. And 2.5 tablespoons of unflavored gelatin. I got this from Azure Standard. We're going to just let that bloom. It's going to take about 10 minutes. Now we're going to whisk 2/3 cup of powdered sugar and 1/3 cup of cornstarch. We're going to whisk this together and then set it aside. Now it's time to get our syrup ready. Now we're going to add half a cup of water and 2/3 cup of light corn syrup. Now we're going to add 2 cups of sugar. We're going to pour it in the middle. We do not want it to get on the side. And then 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm using Redmond's real salt. We're going to bring this up to a boil on medium-high heat. We'll gently swirl the pan once it comes up to a boil until all the sugar is melted. We'll want it to reach 240 degrees. It's going to take 6 to 8 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and attach my candy thermometer so I'll know when it reaches the 240 degrees. I'm just swirling the pans to help that sugar get good and melted. Okay, we are now at 240 degrees. We're going to cut our whisk on low. And very carefully pour this in, avoiding the whisk and the bowl. My KitchenAid is about on its last leg and is quite noisy, so please excuse the noise. We're going to gradually increase this to high and let it whisk until everything is good and stiff. It's going to take about 10 to 12 minutes. I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract and whisk that in for about 30 to 45 seconds. Now working pretty quickly, we're going to get this into our pan. I'm going to go ahead and remove this whisk, and then we're going to go ahead and pour this in our pan before the marshmallows begin to set. It will begin to harden pretty quickly. Now we're just going to smooth the top and get ready for our next step. Now if you remember the powdered sugar and cornstarch mixture, we're going to put about 2 tablespoons and sprinkle this on top. And we're going to save the rest of the mixture for either tonight or in the morning. This is supposed to normally sit overnight, but I'm doing this in the morning, so I may have time. If it sits for about 8 hours, I may go ahead and pull it out and cut it this evening. So just gonna sprinkle this on. The powdered sugar helps it not to stick. And we'll use the rest of that powdered sugar when we go to cut it. Now I'm gonna, if you have plastic wrap, you can cover it. I have this lid, so I'm just gonna see if I can fit it over this and set it to the side. And I will bring you back when it's time to cut it.
So at this point, it's been about 6 hours, and I've decided to go ahead and cut the marshmallows. I'm sprinkling the powdered sugar mixture on my cutting board, but I've not yet decided how I'm going to get the marshmallows on the cutting board. So I've decided just to flip it. If I knew I was going to do that to begin with, I would have waited on the powdered sugar because I'd already put powdered sugar on the top. So now I'm going to put powdered sugar on the bottom part of the marshmallows. You're doing this so that it won't stick. Now I'm going to put some powdered sugar on the other cutting board because once these marshmallows are cut, you need to roll them in the powdered sugar so they won't stick. Now I have put nonstick spray on my knife to help it not stick as well. And as soon as they're cut, you just roll them in the powdered sugar cornstarch mixture. And it is as simple as that. These marshmallows would be good for about 2 weeks in an airtight container or up to 3 months in the freezer. These marshmallows are super fresh and delicious, and I think would be a fun activity to make with your kids. Especially if you're doing all the things and they get to roll them in the powdered sugar. And there you have it. Homemade marshmallows. So delicious.
Now we're going to make 2 different kinds of homemade hot chocolate. The first one we're going to make is the original with sugar. To make a small batch, we're going to use 2/3 cup of instant dry powder mix, 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, 2 tablespoons and 1 teaspoon of Nesquik mix, and 2 1/4 teaspoons of coffee creamer. This is so good. You'll use 1/3 cup in 8 ounces of hot water or milk, and this makes the best hot chocolate. The only thing better is to add your homemade marshmallows. Now I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to try to make the same thing, but instead of using powdered sugar, I'm going to try using Truvia packets. Now this is still not sugar-free because the Nesquik mix has a lot of sugar in it. And then I'm going to try this. So we're going to use 2/3 cup of instant dry powder, non-fat, 2 1/4 teaspoons of coffee creamer, 2 tablespoons and 1 teaspoon of Nesquik mix, and then I'm going to be using 6 packets of Truvia. So I already have 5 in here. I'm going to open this one and pour it in, and this will be number 6. I'll mix this up, and it is as simple as that. Now, I know the one with powdered sugar is delicious. So next, I'm going to try the one with stevia and see how it compares. I'm going to add 1/3 cups of the hot chocolate mix with the stevia. I'm going to put it under my coffee maker. Make sure there's no, oh, let me take this out. Do 8 ounces. I'll let that go into my coffee cup. I'll cut that off. And stir this really good. And then I'm going to take 2 homemade marshmallows and put them in my cup. Doesn't that look delicious? Well, let's try it and see if it is. So I hope you give this hot chocolate and homemade marshmallows a try. It really is delicious. I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I won't see you next week. I plan to take next week off, but I'll see you in 2024.